Hello, my dear students. Today I am going to explain about the development of embryo and what are the difference between the structure of dicot and monocot embryo, as well as we will study the seeds and the development of seeds and types of seeds, and then later on we will move on to the fruit. So when we have started with the topic post-fertilization events, structure and events, we have understood that the subsequent events which follows after the fertilization, where after the double fertilization, zygote develops into embryo and then primary endosperm nucleus will develop into endosperm. So in the what are the embryo development? We have already understood that. See, embryonic development I have represented with the diagram. So small part is remaining. So you can refer the diagram which you have drawn in the last video, and you can learn along with that. So embryo, as we understood that, it develops at the micropylary end of the embryo sac. You know that embryo sac will have a two position. One is micropylar, one is chalazal end. So this embryo development occurs from the micropylar end of the embryo sac. Then because where the zygote is formed near the synergids, which is located toward the micropylar end. So zygote is formed near the synergids. These structures are located near the micropylar end. Then obviously the embryo development will occur at the micropylar end. Now, is there any difference between the dicot and monocot embryonic development? The early stages there is no changes. Okay, so the early stages of embryo development is same in monocots as well as in dicots. Then how that development proceeds, what are the structures can be seen in the sequence of the development. First zygote will be there, zygote will be changed into proembryo. Proembryo forms a globular shaped embryo, then heart shaped embryo, then forms the mature embryo. So this is how the sequence of development can see in the embryogeny, or we can say that embryonic development during the dicots and monocot embryo. Then later what happens? That is about the embryo. Now endosperm. Okay, let us understand about the endosperm. Endosperm is developed from the primary endosperm nucleus. Here one thing to notice is that most zygote, okay, will divide only after certain amount of endosperm is formed. Okay, endosperm study we already studied. Okay, is it? So again I am not going to study that, but one thing you have to notice here, that even though this embryo is formed, right, the zygote will be start to divide only after some certain amount of endosperm is formed. If the endosperm is formed, then only the zygote will start to divide. Why? Why it is happens so? Because it is an adaptation. It is an adaptation in angiosperms to provide assured nutrition. What it provides? It provides an assured nutrition to the developing embryo. So zygote divides only if the certain amount of endosperm formed. It is because it is an adaptation in the angiosperms to assure that the developing embryo will have a reserve food materials. Okay, then only it will start to form. So now embryo, let us talk about the embryo. So what are the two types of embryo? You have studied in your previous classes about the difference between dicot and monocot embryo. I have drawn here a dicot embryo and monocot embryo. This is of a simple seeds which dicotyledon seed. For example, we can say it is a which seed we can say it is a example for a dicot embryo. This is an example for monocot embryo. Especially this is of the grass type. This is of grass. This will be seen in many dicotyledons embryo. Now in the dicot embryo, the location is based. Now we have structures are labeled here. Those structures are identified based on their location with respect to the embryonal axis. So usually an embryo has, what are the structures we can see mainly? It has an embryonal axis. Okay, this is the embryonal axis and this is the cotyledons. So embryonal axis, generally it is thick, is it? So here it has a single lateral cotyledon, not single, how much it is there? It has 2 cotyledons, right? So it has 2 cotyledons and it is broader at one end and pointed at other end. Visually, which is an example for castor. We can say it is example for this dicot seed, example castor. So broader embryonal axis is thick and cotyledons also elongated. So there is 2 cotyledon and 1 embryonal axis is there. Now with respect to the embryonal axis, we will start to study each part. First part, what will the first part we can say? So the portion of the embryonal axis above the level of attachment of cotyledon. Okay, the portion of embryonal axis which is above the level of cotyledon is called as epicotyle. Remember, it is not labeled in the textbook, and as well as if you refer some other book also, usually epicotyle will not be labeled. If you find it, you label it, and if not, better not to label it, because let us follow the textbook itself. Okay, so here the portion of the embryonal axis above the level of cotyledon, we call it as epicotyle. So completely this region is a epicotyle. This epicotyle terminates in a structure called as plumule, and this plumule later what it forms? Later it develops into shoot tip or stem tip. It forms a stem tip. I'll tell you one trick to remember which forms a stem, which forms a root. Anyhow, in this plumule, it forms stem tip, whereas the radicle forms a root tip. R is there, right? So you show that if the R radicle is there, means R, it is for root. Plumule, there is no R, so it is for stem tip. So epicotyle terminates in a structure called as plumule, which later forms a stem tip. Then the region of embryonal axis below the level of cotyledon is called as hypocotyle, and hypocotyle it terminates in a structure called as radicle. So hypocotyle terminates at its lower end in the form of radicle, and this radicle instead is covered by enclosed in a cap-like structure called as root tip or root. It has encloses. Actually, radicle encloses. If it is a stem tip, this is a root tip, and this is enclosed by a covering called as root cap. So this root tip is covered by a root cap. So let me revise once again the structure of dicot embryo. Dicot embryo, it has 2 parts. One is embryonal axis and cotyledons. There are 2 cotyledons also there, and you can see it is broader at one end and pointed at another end. Then with respect to the embryonal axis, we have some other these structures are labeled. First one, the portion of the embryonal axis above the level of cotyledon is called as epicotyle. Epicotyle terminates in a structure called as plumule. It forms a stem tip later. Then you can see there is a portion of the embryonal axis below the level of cotyledon axis called as hypocotyle. Hypocotyle terminates in a structure called as radicle. Radicle forms a root tip, and this root tip is enclosed in a structure, or it is enclosed by a root cap. Okay, so this is about the structures related to the dicot embryo. Let us learn about the monocot embryo. So this is found in grass embryo. If you look at the maize embryo, it is different. You have studied in your first PU about the monocot embryo, right? So here, there is, as we know that in monocotyledons, single embryo, right? It has only one embryo, one cotyledon. So it is named as monocotyledons. And this cotyledon, especially, it is found in the one region. Okay, it is situated on the lateral region. At the one end itself, you can see it extends on one side. So that region is called as scutellum. So it possesses only one cotyledon, and this is situated towards one side of the embryonal axis. So this is the embryonal axis. It has only one cotyledon. That cotyledon is called as scutellum, and this scutellum is situated on lateral side of the embryonal axis. Then remaining part structures are more similar to the dicot embryo itself. Here the structures which is found above the level of embryonal axis. Yeah, it has, we can say that scutellum, right. The structure which is found above the level of attachment of scutellum. Here it is with respect to the cotyledons. Here it is not called as cotyledon. Here it is called as scutellum. So portion of the embryonal axis which is above the level of attachment of scutellum. What it is called as? It is the same thing. What is called as? It is called as epicotyle. And this epicotyle, what it has? It has a shoot apex. Epicotyle has a shoot apex. What it has in the dicot embryo? It has a plumule. Okay, is it? So in this, it has a shoot apex, and this shoot apex is enclosed in a leaf-like structures. Okay, this shoot apex is covered. Now if you open any tender leaf and all which is just young one, you can see, so it will be folded inside. So likewise, if you this monocot embryo on one side, on its coleoptile on the one side, which is above the level of attachment of scutellum. It has a shoot apex which is enclosed in a leaf primordia called as coleoptile. It is enclosed in a leaf primordia. It is enclosed in a leaf primordia, and it is enclosed in a foliar structure which is covered by this foliar leaf-like structures called as coleoptile. Let me repeat once again. So the structure of embryonal axis, what is scutellum? Hope you got clear, right? One cotyledon, which is towards only in the monocot, one cotyledon situated on the lateral side and on the one side. Then the portion of embryonal axis which is above the level of this attachment of scutellum is called as shoot apex. The shoot apex is enclosed in a foliar structure. Okay, it is enclosed in a leaf primordia. It is enclosed in a hollow foliar structure, and it has leaf primordia in it. It has a leaf primordia, and it is enclosed in a hollow foliar structure called as coleoptile. Hope you got clear. Understood? Okay, nothing but this region forms the shoot. That means shoot tip means it will have the leaf-like structures, right? So those leaf-like structures are covered by this hollow foliar structure. Hollow, it is hollow inside, and it will be completely covered by a leaf-like structure. So a hollow foliar structure, that structure is called as coleoptile. Though in short, coleoptile, it is like a leaf-like structures which encloses the shoot apex. Then the portion of the embryonal axis below the level of attachment of the scutellum is called as, here it is also called as hypocotyle, and it terminates in the radicle which forms the root tip, and it is enclosed, it is covered by a root cap, and then this root cap is enclosed in the undifferentiated sheath. Okay, so this is a hollow foliar structure which encloses shoot apex. Foliar structure. Whereas coleorhiza, what it encloses? It encloses a radicle. It encloses a root tip. So it is enclosed in a undifferentiated sheath. So coleorhiza is a undifferentiated sheath. We cannot say what it has structure. It is not differentiated. So sheath-like structure which is not differentiated, we call it as undifferentiated sheath. So altogether, these are the structures seen in the monocot embryo. So I'll repeat once again. Scutellum, you got cleared, right? So next part is the embryonal axis on the level of, above the level of attachment is called as epicotyle, which terminates in the structure called as shoot apex. Shoot apex is enclosed in a hollow folia structure called as coleoptile. Later it forms a shoot tip part. Then the level of the portion of embryonal axis which is below the level of scutellum is called as hypocotyle, which is covered by the radicle which is enclosed in the undifferentiated sheath-like structure called as coleorhiza, and radicle forms a root tip and which is covered by the root cap. Got clear? Here important, understand what is coleoptile, what is coleorhiza. When you are writing, explaining also, you should include all these terms. Okay. So radicle and root cap is enclosed in an undifferentiated sheath. What is that? Radicle and root cap is enclosed in an undifferentiated sheath. What is that undifferentiated sheath is called as? It is coleorhiza. And next, shoot apex, which is having the stem tip and it is enclosed in a hollow folia structure called as coleoptile. And what it has leaf primordia in it. This is about the monocot and dicot embryo. So next topic is, what's the next topic? Embryo is formed. Endosperm is also learned. What is the next? It is seed. Okay, about seed. Seed is very important. As far as agriculture is concerned, agriculture cannot exist without the seed. And seed forms the basis for agriculture. A new plant starts from the seed itself. And what other name we can give for the seed? Seed, we also say that it is a final product of sexual reproduction. What is that? It is a final product of sexual reproduction in plants. As well as we can also say seed is a ripened fertilized ovule. What is that? It is a ripened fertilized ovule. It is a ripened fertilized ovule. Let me draw a diagram to represent what are the structures which forms various parts of the seed from the ovary. So consider this is a ovary. And inside, what are the structures can be seen? It is attached by the funicle. Ovule is attached by the funicle. It has a integuments. What I am drawing is embryo sac, right? It is a embryo sac. Then inside, it has embryo sac, in which what and all structures can be seen. We can see here are the structures are there which forms a zygote. There is a polar nuclear later forms into the zygote. So ovary, I will represent now what are the each part later constitutes. Ovary develops into fruit. Then what's the next part is remaining? Next, ovule. What is the ovule turns into? Ovule forms. What is the ovule forms? Ovule forms the seed. It is not there in your textbook. Just for your understanding, I am doing this. Then integuments. There are integuments are there, right? What this integuments forms? Integuments forms a seed coat. Integuments later develops into seed coat. Then what's the next region? You can see inside that. You can see that there is a primary endosperm nucleus. What it forms later develops into endosperm, a nutritive tissue for the development of embryo. From here, zygote is there. Zygote develops into embryo. And there is a part which surrounds the embryo sac. Surrounding the embryo sac, there is some thick mass of cells, I've said. That is called as nucellus. So what is this nucellus? It's a surrounding to the embryo sac, there is a mass of cells called as nucellus. And in some plants, this nucellus will be persistent. So that persistent nucellus is called as perisperm. What is perisperm? The persistent nucellus. In some plants, the nucellus will be persistent. Don't confuse nucleus and nucellus. The spelling is different. So be careful while writing the spelling. Nucellus, Nucellus, that is nucleus. So the persistent nucellus is called as perisperm. It is found in the black pepper and as well as in the beetroot. So what is this perisperm? So one more question can be asked. So in some plants, there will be persistent nucellar content. That is called as perisperm. And so example for this is black pepper and beetroot. So this is about the perisperm. Then about the seed. So if you have to study, we were studying about the seed itself. Seed, as we said, it is a final product of sexual reproduction. It is nothing but fertilized ovule, and a seed contains the parts of the seed. What are the seed part? It contains a seed contains what is the structures can be seen inside the seed? Seed coat. From where it is developed? Seed coat is formed from the integuments. Then next, there will be cotyledons. What is this cotyledons function? It helps in the reserving food materials. Then what's the next structure can be seen? Seed coat, then cotyledons, and an embryonal axis. So these are the structures which can be seen in the seed. So where the seeds are formed inside the ovary or inside the fruit. Because I said ovary because ovary later converts into fruit. So that's why the seeds are formed inside the ovary, and inside the fruit it is found. Then it is a fertilized ovule. Seeds consist of typically the parts of seed. We can see what are the structures. Typically a seed contains these many structures. A seed coat is there, cotyledons are there, then embryonal axis also can be seen. So usually to develop the seeds into a plant, for example, sprouts. You heard of sprouts, right? Very rich in protein. It's very good for health if you consume daily. And so these sprouts are developed after soaking in the water. So overnight we will soak in the water, and next day we will keep for drying. So once that seed is soaked in water and developed next day, you can see it starts to develop into sprout. So but this seed, usually it will not germinate very quickly. Immediately this seed will not germinate. So this seed will suspend its activities for a period of time. So that suspended activities or that duration where they are completely dormant, we call it as dormancy. So what is that dormancy? Dormancy is a period or in a seed when they will be inactive. Okay, so period of inactivity is called as dormancy. Dormancy is the period of inactivity is called as dormancy. See, during this dormant condition, the seed will be completely dormant. Its metabolic activities also will be decreased. And what are the changes can be seen during this metabolic condition is that it becomes immobile. Food becomes immobile in that. The inside food materials cannot move. So food becomes immobile. Then respiration also becomes anaerobic in mature seed. This I am explaining in mature seed. In mature seed, suddenly they will not go into an embryo. They will remain inactive for a particular period of time. That inactive period is called as dormancy. During this dormant condition, the metabolic changes are, one is metabolism will be reduced, and as well as they will be undergo anaerobic respiration. Then as well as food becomes immobile. Then because of this activity, dormant condition make them to survive, make them withstand with high temperature as well as low temperature. They can withstand high temperature or low temperature is because of this presence of this inactive period called as dormancy. This dormancy can be compared with the hibernation found in animals, during which no activity can be taken place with them. So likewise, the embryo suddenly in the seed, all of a sudden growing embryo becomes dormant and stops growth. So that period is called as dormancy. So if we permit these seeds to develop, germinate on the early time, what happens means when it starts to germinate and develops themselves, that climate will not be comfortable for their growth. So because of that, they cannot develop fully and cannot survive completely. For this reason, seeds will undergo dormancy before they starts to germinate. So these are the aspects of the seed, and remaining in the coming class we will understand about some of the remaining aspect of this chapter, that is what is two types of fruits, parthenocarpy, apomixis, polyembryony. Such 1 mark, 2 mark questions mainly comes from that part. So those topics we will discuss in the coming video. Then in today's class we have understood what is the embryo, what are the difference between a monocot embryo and dicot embryo, and also we have understood what is a seed. Seed is nothing but a ripened ovary. A fertilized ovule is called as seed. Then it is a final product of sexual reproduction. And after the fertilization, what are the structural changes we can see? Ovary develops into fruit. Then integuments forms the seed coat. PEN, that is primary endosperm, develops into endosperm. Then zygote develops into embryo. Ovule develops into seed. Then in some cases, the nucellus, these cells which is surrounding this embryo sac, will be persistent even in the mature seed. So that we call it as perisperm. The persistent nucellus is called as perisperm, and it is found in the plant like black pepper and beetroot. Then typically a seed consists of But a structure can be seen in the seed. It has seed coat, it has a cotyledons, and it has a embryonal axis. Then these seeds undergo dormant condition during which their metabolic activities will be completely reduced and the respiration will be anaerobic, and as well as they can tolerate high temperature or low temperature. And this is like equivalent to hibernation, which sustains their development to overcome the unfavorable period. And usually a living cell dies if its water content reduces to 45 to 75%. But this seed can live even if the water content goes below the 15% also, up to the 15 to 17% also. If the water reduces, they can survive.